Beloved chosen one, stop scrolling, so pause your breath. This is not another message competing for your attention. This is a divine interruption. You are being halted mid-stride because heaven itself has stepped into your timeline. You were moving, striving, enduring, and suddenly everything slowed down. That was not coincidence. That was God pressing pause on the noise so you could hear what most will miss. You are not here by accident. You never were. Long before this week arrived, long before the pressure intensified, this moment was written into your life. This warning is not meant to frighten you, it is meant to awaken you. Something is shifting, and the reason you feel unsettled is because your spirit already knows this week will change everything. You have been sensing it beneath the surface, in the quiet moments, in the way your spirit refuses to relax, in the strange tension between fear and expectation. That tension is not anxiety, it is anticipation. When God prepares to move you into alignment, He disrupts what has become familiar. Comfort is interrupted before destiny is activated. Chosen one, listen carefully. You are standing at a spiritual intersection. One decision opens clarity, protection, and acceleration. Another decision delays you just enough to drain momentum. This is not about massive rebellion, it is about subtle compromise. The enemy rarely pushes you off a cliff, he invites you to drift. Right here, in the middle of this moment, heaven is issuing a warning wrapped in love. Not condemnation, direction, not punishment, protection. Scripture speaks directly to what you are facing right now. The prophet Elijah spoke as recorded in the first book of Kings, chapter 18, verse 21. How long will you waver between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow Him. That question is not ancient, it is present tense. How long will you hesitate when clarity has already been given? How long will you stand between obedience and convenience, knowing exactly what God has asked of you? Indecision is not neutral in the spiritual realm. Wavering always costs more than choosing. This is why resistance has intensified. This is why distractions are louder. This is why old patterns are knocking, dressed as harmless options. Darkness senses movement before manifestation. When your obedience is near, opposition shows up early. Pressure is proof of proximity. You have endured more than most. Chosen one, sleepless nights, silent tears, seasons where obedience felt unrewarded, moments when you questioned whether carrying this calling was worth the cost. But hear this clearly, what you carry is not a burden, it is an assignment. And assignments attract warfare. Do not misunderstand the warning. God is not threatening you. He is protecting you. He is saying, do not cross the line where delay turns into disobedience. Some choices look logical but carry spiritual consequences. Some doors appear open but lead to confusion. Some voices sound familiar but no longer carry God's instruction. Right now, mercy is still speaking. Conviction is still gentle. You still feel the nudge, the check in your spirit, the quiet discomfort when you consider going your own way. That is grace. But grace ignored eventually becomes silence, and silence is far more dangerous than correction. This week is a hinge. What you decide now will echo forward. Heaven is watching not your intentions, but your response. Partial obedience is still disobedience. Delayed obedience is still delay. But surrendered obedience unlocks covering you cannot manufacture on your own. If this message is piercing you, do not rush past it. Let it mark you. Let it sober you. Let it realign you. And yes, if you recognize that this warning is for you, take action. Like this message, share it with someone you know is chosen, and subscribe to stay connected to what God is releasing in this season. This is not about platforms, it is about positioning. Chosen one, don't do it no matter the price. Don't trade obedience for ease. Don't exchange calling for comfort. This is not coincidence. This is divine intervention. Heaven is close, and your next step matters more than you realize. Seal this moment with faith and obedience. Comment 77 below as a sign that you hear the warning. You choose clarity, and you will follow the Lord fully. This warning is not meant to weigh you down. It is meant to steady you. You are not being rushed, but you are being called. Heaven is not frantic, yet it is precise. What feels intense is not pressure from God. It is the seriousness of alignment. Your next step doesn't need noise, only courage and trust. You may feel alone in this moment, but you are not isolated. Separation always precedes elevation. God often removes familiar voices so his voice becomes unmistakable. What feels like distance is actually focus. You are being tuned, refined, and positioned to hear instructions meant only for you, not for the crowd. Do not underestimate the power of small obedience this week. One decision, one refusal, one quiet yes can protect you from months of recovery later. Destiny is rarely decided in dramatic moments. It is secured in private choices no one applauds. Heaven sees those moments clearly. Walk forward without explaining yourself. You don't need permission to obey God. Those meant to walk with you will recognize the change without being convinced. Let your peace speak louder than arguments. Let your discipline speak louder than emotion. This is how chosen ones move firm, quiet, and unshaken. Before the chains fell from Israel, before the sea split, before freedom had a name, there was a long season that looked nothing like deliverance. Moses stood in the shadow of Pharaoh's power while the people groaned under weight they could not escape. Bricks were demanded without straw. Labor increased. Hope seemed irresponsible. And yet, this was the moment right before God moved. Moses had already heard God's voice. He had already been sent. But when he first spoke to Pharaoh, nothing improved. In fact, everything became worse. The people he came to help turned against him. They said he made their lives harder. Moses went back to God confused, frustrated, questioning his assignment. This part of the story matters because it reveals a truth most people don't want to hear. Obedience does not always bring immediate relief. Chosen one, this is where your life intersects with that ancient moment. You did what you believed was right. You followed conviction. You stepped away from what was familiar, and instead of peace, pressure increased. Instead of affirmation, resistance multiplied. You wondered quietly, did I hear God wrong? That question does not disqualify you. Moses asked it too. What was happening in Egypt was not delay, it was exposure. God was not only preparing Israel for freedom, he was exposing Pharaoh's grip. Oppression always tightens before it breaks. Systems that benefit from your silence react violently when you start moving toward freedom. That's true spiritually, emotionally, even practically in everyday life. Think about it. When you decide to change a destructive habit, the urge intensifies. When you choose honesty, consequences surface. When you set boundaries, people push back. This is not failure, it is friction. And friction is evidence that movement has begun. Israel's suffering intensified because Pharaoh felt threatened. He sensed loss before it happened. Darkness always senses its end before light appears. That is why the pressure in your life escalated right after you made a decision to obey. Something in the unseen realm recognized that your captivity was ending. Moses didn't understand timing. Neither did the people. They only felt pain. But God was systematically dismantling false authority. Every plague that followed was not random, it was targeted. God confronted what Egypt trusted, one layer at a time. What looks like chaos from below is precision from above. Here is where this meets your daily life. God often allows situations that reveal what truly controls you. Comfort, approval, security, control. When those things are threatened, discomfort rises. But discomfort is not your enemy, it is a messenger. It shows you where dependence has replaced trust. Right in the middle of this tension, God spoke again, not with reassurance, but with identity. He reminded Moses who he was, not what he would do, but who he had always been. That reminder matters for you right now. The voice of God thundered in the book of Exodus, chapter 6, verse 2, I am the Lord. That declaration came before deliverance, before miracles, before escape. God did not explain himself, he revealed himself. Because when you know who God is, timing becomes less threatening. Process becomes bearable. Waiting becomes purposeful. Chosen one, you may feel like things are getting heavier, not lighter. But heaviness does not mean abandonment. Often it means God is bringing hidden systems to the surface so they can no longer operate quietly. What is being exposed now is what could not go with you into freedom. Moses had to stand firm while people doubted him. You may be doing the same. Not everyone will understand why you can't live the way you used to. Not everyone will celebrate your obedience. Some will blame you for their discomfort. That does not mean you are wrong. It means change has begun. This season is not asking you to escape responsibility. It is asking you to endure with clarity, to remain steady when results lag behind obedience, to trust that God is working even when nothing around you confirms it yet. Remember, this Israel was closest to freedom when they felt most trapped. The sea didn't part when hope was high. It parted when there was nowhere else to go. God often waits until dependence is complete before he moves decisively. So if you feel boxed in, pressured, misunderstood, do not panic. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are standing in the exact place where false power is about to lose its hold. Stay steady. Stay obedient. Stay awake. Deliverance does not announce itself loudly. It begins quietly, while pressure peaks and faith deepens. And when it comes, it will make sense why it couldn't have happened any earlier. What matters now is how you carry yourself in this pressure. Complaining won't shorten the season, but clarity will sustain you through it. You are learning how to walk without immediate answers, how to trust without visible proof. That strength will matter when freedom arrives. Pay attention to what this season is teaching you to release. Old reactions, old dependencies, old ways of coping. God often removes what once helped you survive because it cannot help you lead. What feels like loss is actually refinement preparing you for responsibility. Do not rush to escape discomfort. Some lessons only form under weight. Patience grows when outcomes are delayed. Discernment sharpens when voices conflict. You are being shaped quietly, away from applause. So your foundation holds when movement finally comes. When the shift happens, it will feel sudden to others but not to you. You will recognize it as earned clarity. The pressure will make sense. The waiting will have meaning. And you will move forward differently. No longer desperate, only steady and free. Chosen one, there comes a moment when the battle is no longer about what is happening around you, but about what is forming within you. Section 2 revealed pressure before freedom. Now we move deeper because pressure does not only expose systems outside of you, it reveals agreements inside of you. This is where many lose clarity, not because God stopped speaking, but because noise increased. You are not just navigating circumstances, you are navigating influence. Voices, suggestions, inner narratives, Old survival instincts that once kept you safe but now quietly sabotage obedience. This is the hidden war. Not temptation screaming loudly, but compromise whispering gently. This is the stage where discernment matters more than effort. You can work hard and still drift. You can stay busy and still move in the wrong direction. Activity is not the same as alignment, and God is not impressed by motion. He responds to surrender. Look closely at your reactions lately. What triggers frustration? What stirs impatience? What makes you want to justify instead of listen? Those are not random emotions. They are indicators. They reveal where something is competing with trust. In everyday life, this looks simple. You're tired, so you consider cutting corners. You're lonely, so you lower standards. You're under pressure, so you revisit an old habit just this once. None of these feel dramatic. That's why they're dangerous. Destiny is rarely lost in one big rebellion. It's eroded through small permissions. This is why God often allows silence during this phase. Not because He left, but because He is watching what you choose when guidance isn't constant. Silence reveals dependence. It shows whether you follow God's voice or your own reasoning when the path narrows. Scripture speaks directly into this internal conflict. The ancient words recorded in Romans chapter 12, verse 2, still echo today. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Notice the language. Transformation begins in the mind, not the environment. God doesn't always change the situation first. He changes the way you see it. Because once perception shifts, decisions follow. And once decisions change, outcomes eventually align. Chosen one. The reason this warning matters now is because you are approaching a threshold. What you tolerate internally will determine what you experience externally. Thought patterns become pathways. Repeated permissions become direction. This is why discernment feels heavy right now. You are being asked to slow down mentally, to question impulses you used to trust, to sit with discomfort instead of immediately relieving it. This is not punishment, it is recalibration. In daily life, recalibration feels inconvenient. It interrupts momentum. It forces pauses where you want speed. But speed without direction leads to distance, not progress. God would rather slow you down than let you arrive somewhere prematurely and unprepared. Pay attention to what drains you versus what grounds you. Some conversations leave you unsettled. Some environments weaken resolve. Some routines numb conviction. These are not neutral. They are shaping you quietly. Wisdom is recognizing when something no longer serves who you are becoming. This section is not about fear, it is about responsibility. You are no longer operating on basic instructions, you are being trained for stewardship. And stewardship requires discernment at a higher level. Right now, heaven is not asking for noise or performance. It is asking for agreement, alignment, a quiet but firm yes that shows up in decisions no one else sees. That is where authority is built. Before we move forward, mark this moment intentionally. Not as routine, not as engagement, but as a declaration of direction. Comment a short phrase, no more than 4 words, that states clearly what you are choosing in this season. Comment, I choose obedience. This phrase is not symbolic, it is specific. It declares that even when clarity costs you comfort, you will obey. Even when pressure rises, you will not negotiate with conviction. Even when delay tempts you to compromise, you will remain faithful to instruction. This comment marks a conscious decision to follow God's direction, not your emotions. When you say, I choose obedience, you are not claiming perfection. You are declaring priority. You are saying that God's instruction outranks your comfort, your timing, and your emotions. It means that when clarity and convenience collide, you already know which one you will follow. This statement means you stop negotiating with what God has already made clear. Obedience begins where excuses end. You may not understand every outcome, but you refuse to delay action just because certainty is incomplete. Trust becomes active, not theoretical. Choosing obedience also means accepting that some doors will close quietly. Some relationships will shift. Some habits will no longer fit. You are not obeying to gain applause, you are obeying to remain aligned. That alignment protects you from paths that look harmless but lead nowhere. When pressure increases, obedience becomes your anchor. Instead of reacting emotionally, you respond intentionally. Instead of rushing for relief, you wait for instruction. This choice stabilizes you when circumstances try to pull you into fear, impatience, or compromise. I choose obedience as a line drawn in the spirit. It tells heaven you are ready for responsibility, not just blessing. It signals maturity, the willingness to follow even when the reward is delayed. That posture positions you for trust, authority, and lasting peace. When you declare, "I choose obedience," you are settling the question before the pressure arrives. You are deciding in advance that your actions will not be ruled by mood, fear, or convenience. This choice simplifies your path. It removes confusion, because once obedience is chosen, hesitation loses its power. Chosen one. Freedom from negativity does not arrive like a lightning strike, it is built like a path. Stone by stone, step by step, many people pray for release but keep walking in the same direction that produced the weight. God is not only inviting you out of darkness, He is teaching you how to stay out. Negativity is not just an emotion, it is an environment. And environments are formed by what you repeatedly allow. Think of your inner world like a room. Whatever you keep opening the door to will eventually shape the atmosphere. If you keep letting despair sit down, hope has nowhere to stand. If fear is given a chair, peace is pushed into the corner. So the first action is awareness. You must notice what you're feeding, what you watch before bed, what you replay in your mind when you wake up, what conversations leave you drained rather than strengthened. Negativity grows in unexamined places. Light enters where attention is intentional. Picture yourself carrying a heavy backpack filled with stones. Each stone represents a thought you never questioned, a memory you never released, a word spoken over you that you accepted as truth. You've been walking with this weight so long that it feels normal, but normal does not mean healthy. God's invitation is not to walk faster, it is to put the bag down. Putting it down begins with interruption. When a negative thought loops, you stop at mid-sentence, not by arguing emotionally, but by redirecting deliberately. Replace rumination with grounding. Replace assumptions with truth. This is discipline, not denial. You are retraining your inner world to follow truth instead of reflex. Daily life offers constant practice. When plans fall apart, you resist catastrophizing. When someone disappoints you, you refuse to build a narrative of rejection. When progress feels slow, you choose patience over self-attack. These moments are small, but they are powerful. Freedom is maintained in the mundane. Negativity also loses power when you change posture. Imagine sitting in a dark room staring at one crack in the wall. That crack becomes your entire world. But when you stand up and walk toward the window, perspective shifts. Action changes perception. Even simple acts, walking, cleaning, writing, breathing slowly, can pull you out of mental spirals. Movement breaks stagnation. God's word speaks directly to this process of inner redirection. The Apostle Paul wrote in the letter to the Philippians, chapter 4, verse 8, "Whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, think about such things." This is not passive advice, it is instruction. Think intentionally. Choose what you dwell on. Your mind follows what you repeatedly point it toward. And what fills the mind eventually shapes the life. Another step out of negativity is subtraction. You don't just add good habits, you remove draining ones. Some inputs need to be limited. Some voices need boundaries. Some news, music, or social environments quietly poison your peace. This is not isolation, it is stewardship. You are responsible for what you let shape your inner climate. Think of a garden. You don't yell at weeds to leave you pull them out, and you don't pull them out once, you do it regularly. Negativity works the same way. You uproot it when it appears, before it spreads roots. This requires consistency, not intensity. There is also healing in expression. Suppressed emotion becomes internal pressure, honest prayer, journaling, safe conversations. These are release valves, not weakness. God does not ask you to pretend, He asks you to bring what is heavy into the light so it loses its grip. As you practice these steps, something shifts. Negativity no longer controls the room. It becomes a visitor, not a resident. It may knock, but it no longer decides. Peace starts to feel familiar again, not because life is perfect, but because your inner house is ordered. And chosen one, you do not walk this path alone. Growth accelerates when you stay connected to messages that realign you. That's why, if this section is helping you see clearly, I invite you gently and sincerely to take a simple step. Like this message if it brought clarity, not as a habit, but as acknowledgement that truth reached you. Share it with someone who feels trapped in negativity but doesn't know where to start. And subscribe to remain connected to teachings that strengthen your inner foundation week by week. These actions are not about numbers. They are about building a community of clarity, resilience, and faith. When you support what strengthens you, you reinforce it in your own life. Chosen one. Negativity is not your identity. It is not your destiny. It is something you can step out of deliberately, faithfully, daily. The door is open. The path is clear. Walk it with intention, and you will find that what once overwhelmed you no longer has authority over you. As you walk this path, be patient with yourself. Growth is rarely dramatic. It is usually quiet and repetitive. Some days will feel lighter, others heavier. That does not mean you are failing. It means you are learning how to remain steady instead of reactive. Notice how your reactions change before your circumstances do. That is often the first sign of freedom. When triggers lose intensity, when peace returns faster, when your thoughts soften, you are healing. Inner order always precedes outer breakthrough. Over time, you will realize that negativity no longer defines your atmosphere. It becomes something you observe, not something you obey. You will move forward with clearer vision, stronger boundaries, and a calmer spirit, no longer surviving but living with intention and trust. Chosen one. There comes a season when God does not give more explanation. He allows pressure to speak, not to overwhelm you, but to reveal what is solid and what is surface level. This is that season. What you are feeling now is not confusion, it is compression, and compression always reveals composition. Pressure does not create weakness. It exposes it. It shows you what you lean on when certainty is removed, when outcomes are delayed, when reassurance is absent. That is why this phase feels intense. God is not testing your strength. He is refining your dependence. You may notice that life feels narrower. Fewer distractions hold your attention. Certain comforts no longer satisfy. Old escapes feel empty. This is not loss. This is focus. God simplifies before He entrusts. He removes excess before He releases increase. Many people misinterpret this moment and retreat. They assume something is wrong because ease has disappeared. But ease is not the measure of alignment. Fruitfulness often begins with restraint. What feels like restriction is actually preparation for stability. In daily life, refinement shows up quietly. You hesitate before reacting. You think twice before speaking. You sense when something is misaligned even if you can't explain why. That sensitivity is not fragility. It is maturity forming. Pressure also reveals hidden expectations. You may discover impatience when progress slows, anxiety when outcomes are unclear, irritation when others do not recognize your effort. These reactions are not failures, they are indicators. They show where trust is still learning to rest. God is not offended by your question. He watches your posture. Do you cling tighter to control, or do you loosen your grip and stay faithful anyway? Refinement happens when you continue to obey without emotional reward. This is where endurance becomes sacred. Not endurance that suppresses feeling, but endurance that refuses to abandon alignment. You feel the weight, but you do not let it redirect you. That kind of endurance builds spiritual gravity, something steady, grounded, unmovable. Scripture speaks directly into this season of pressure and purpose, as the apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 17. For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. Notice the language carefully. Your troubles are achieving something. Pressure is not wasted, it is productive. Even when it feels heavy, it is actively forming glory you cannot yet see. This reframes the entire season. You are not enduring for nothing. Something eternal is being built through what feels temporary. Chosen one. This is why quitting now would cost more than staying. Not because relief is wrong, but because leaving the process unfinished leaves the work incomplete. God does not refine halfway. What He begins, He completes if you remain present. You may feel unseen right now. That is intentional. Visibility often comes after integrity is proven. God builds depth before He builds reach. When no one applauds your obedience, it purifies your motive. When affirmation is absent, your faith matures. Do not compare your timeline to others. Some are moving publicly. Others are being shaped privately. Both are necessary. Comparison drains focus and breeds dissatisfaction. Your process is tailored. Your preparation is precise. Pressure also teaches surrender at a deeper level. Not surrender of effort, but surrender of outcome. You still show up, you still obey, but you release the need to control results. This is where peace begins to coexist with uncertainty. If you are still standing, still listening, still choosing alignment under weight, do not minimize that. Many drift quietly here. You did not. That matters more than you realize. Before moving forward, mark this season intentionally. Not as performance, but as acknowledgement. A way of saying, I recognize what is happening, and I choose to remain steady. Comment 144 below as a symbol of stability. grounding, and perseverance, not as superstition, but as awareness. Symbols anchor decisions. They remind you later why you stayed when it would have been easier to withdraw. Chosen one. Pressure does not mean delay. It means trust. God only refines what He plans to use. Stay steady. Stay present. What is being formed in you now will soon support what flows through you. As this refining continues, you may notice your reactions changing before your circumstances do. Where you once rushed, you now pause. Where you once resisted, you now observe. This quiet shift is evidence that pressure is no longer controlling you. It is training you. There will be days when the weight feels heavier than expected. That does not mean you are regressing. Growth is not linear. Some lessons deepen through repetition. Each return to the same pressure builds a stronger internal response, not a weaker one. You are learning to carry responsibility without anxiety, to hold uncertainty without panic. This balance does not come naturally, it is formed. Over time, you realize you are no longer bracing yourself constantly. Your inner posture becomes steadier, more grounded. Others may not recognize this change immediately. It is subtle, but they will feel it. Your presence will carry less urgency and more authority, less explanation and more clarity. This is how refinement shows itself outwardly, quietly, consistently. What is being built now will support future weight. Influence, leadership, clarity all require internal strength first. This season is not delaying your life, it is reinforcing it. When movement comes, you will move without strain, because the foundation has already been laid. You begin to sense that nothing here is accidental. Each moment of restraint, each quiet decision has shaped you for what lies ahead. You no longer rush the process. You trust it. That trust settles deep, allowing you to move forward with steadiness instead of strain. Chosen one, there is a cost to delay that rarely announces itself loudly. It doesn't arrive as disaster at first. It comes quietly, disguised as comfort, distraction, or reasonable timing. Delay feels harmless because it often looks like rest. But spiritually, delay is not neutral, it slowly reshapes direction. You already know what this feels like. That moment when you sensed clarity but chose to wait. When conviction surfaced, but you postponed action. Nothing collapsed immediately. Life continued. That's why delay is deceptive. It doesn't punish quickly. It erodes slowly. Delay dulls sensitivity. What once stirred your spirit becomes easier to ignore. The inner warning that was sharp becomes faint. This is not because God stops speaking, it is because the heart learns how to tune Him out. Repetition trains perception. What you repeatedly resist on, you eventually stop noticing. In everyday life, this shows up subtly. You tolerate what you once would have confronted. You justify what you once would have refused. You stay in places that drain you because leaving feels inconvenient. None of these choices feel dramatic. But direction is rarely changed by drama, it is altered by drift. Drift is dangerous because it feels passive. You didn't choose wrong, you just didn't choose at all. But indecision is still a decision. And over time, it produces distance. Distance from clarity, distance from peace, distance from purpose. This is why Scripture often warns not against rebellion first, but against hardness. Not against hatred, but against numbness. Because numbness makes you spiritually unresponsive while life continues outwardly unchanged. The Apostle reminds us in his letter to the Hebrews, chapter 3, verse 15. Today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts. Notice the urgency of that word today. Not someday, not when it's easier, not when conditions improve. Delay hardens the heart not through defiance, but through familiarity. When conviction is postponed often enough, it begins to feel optional. Chosen one, this is not said to frighten you, it is said to sharpen you. God's warnings are protective, not punitive. He reveals consequences ahead of time so you don't have to learn them the hard way. Delay also distorts perspective. What once felt misaligned begins to feel normal. You adjust your expectations downward. You call survival peace. You call distraction rest. You call avoidance wisdom. Slowly, standards shift not because truth changed, but because patience wore thin. Think of a compass. If it's only slightly off, the error seems insignificant. But over distance, that small deviation leads you miles away from your destination. Delay works the same way. The longer you walk without correction, the harder it becomes to recognize how far you've drifted. Another cost of delay is spiritual fatigue. Carrying unresolved conviction is exhausting. Part of you knows what needs to change, while another part resists. That inner tension drains energy. Obedience brings rest not because it's easy, but because it resolves conflict. You may wonder why joy feels muted lately, why peace doesn't linger, why prayer feels heavy. Often it's not because something new is wrong, it's because something old was never addressed. Delay compounds weight. This section is about honesty, not condemnation. Ask yourself quietly, what have I postponed that God already made clear? Not everything at once. Just one thing, one step, one conversation, one boundary, one surrender. God does not demand instant transformation. He asks for timely response. He meets movement with grace, but movement matters. Faith that never moves eventually stagnates. Delay also affects others, even when it feels personal. Your obedience is not isolated. Your clarity influences those watching you. Your hesitation teaches them what is optional. Your courage gives them permission to move. Chosen one, there is still grace here. Conviction still speaks. Awareness is still present. That means the door is not closed. But the warning remains because love tells the truth plainly. Do not confuse patience with postponement. Patience waits on God. Delay avoids obedience. One is rooted in trust, the other in fear or comfort. Discern the difference carefully. This is not about rushing. It is about responding, taking the next right step when it is revealed. You don't need the full map. You need faithfulness to the instruction already given. Delay promises safety but delivers stagnation. Obedience may feel costly, but it leads to clarity. Choose clarity. Choose movement. Choose responsiveness while the voice is still clear. What you do with what you know matters, and what you do today matters more than what you plan tomorrow. When you respond promptly, something settles inside you. The inner tension eases because your spirit and actions realign. Even if circumstances remain unchanged, your posture shifts. Peace returns not as a feeling, but as confidence that you are moving in the right direction. Small acts of obedience rebuild sensitivity. The voice that once felt distant becomes clearer again. Discernment sharpens. You notice quicker when something is off, and you adjust without prolonged struggle. Responsiveness keeps your inner compass calibrated toward truth. There will be moments when obedience feels inconvenient or misunderstood. That does not mean it is wrong. Often, the cost confirms the value. What you protect through obedience protects you in return, even when the outcome is not immediately visible. Over time, delay loses its appeal. You recognize it for what it is, a thief of momentum and clarity. Obedience becomes less about effort and more about identity. You move not because you are pressured, but because alignment has become your way of living. Chosen one, you have walked a long way to arrive here, not just through these sections, but through seasons of pressure, confusion, restraint, and quiet endurance. What you carry now is not exhaustion, it is readiness. There is a difference. Exhaustion drains you, readiness steadies you. And right now, you are steady in a way you weren't before. This final moment is not a conclusion. It is a threshold, like standing at the edge of dawn, when the sky has not fully brightened but darkness no longer owns the horizon. You are in that in-between space where the old no longer fits, and the new has not yet fully appeared. That space is sacred. Many people mistake this season and retreat. They think because nothing dramatic is happening, nothing meaningful is forming. But God often does his deepest work underground, where roots grow unseen. Fruit comes later. Stability comes first. You have learned restraint. You have learned discernment. You have learned how to sit with discomfort without letting it shape your identity. That is not weakness, that is mastery. You are no longer ruled by impulse. You are led by clarity. Now, there is a quiet invitation, not shouted, not forced, an invitation to remain connected to what nourishes this clarity. Think of it like tending a flame. Fire doesn't need drama. It needs oxygen and protection. When you lean toward light, when you make room for truth, the flame stays alive. Scripture captures this moment with striking tenderness, as Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 16. Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. Notice what he does not say. He does not say, force your light. He does not say, prove it. He says, let it shine. Light shines naturally when it is not covered. When you stop hiding what God has refined in you, your life becomes a signal, quiet, steady, undeniable. That is what this community is meant to be. Not noise, not pressure, but a place where light is uncovered and shared naturally. When you choose to stay near what strengthens you, you are not committing to a channel, you are choosing an atmosphere. One that reminds you who you are when the world tries to distract you. Imagine walking through a forest at night and seeing small lanterns along the path. Each one doesn't light the whole forest, but together, they make the way visible. That is what happens when you gently support what feeds your spirit. You become part of a path for others who are still walking in uncertainty. If this message has felt like a lantern for you, then pausing here matters. Lingering matters. Staying connected matters. Not because you are asked to, but because it feels right. Like returning to a place where your breath deepens. And perhaps as you move on from this moment, you may feel the desire to leave a trace, not loudly, but meaningfully. Like placing a stone on a trail to say, someone passed here and stayed awake. A quiet comment, a gentle acknowledgement, not for attention, but for alignment. Sharing this message can feel like opening a window for someone else who hasn't yet found air. Subscribing can feel like choosing to keep the lamp lit for nights ahead. Liking it can feel like a nod of recognition. This spoke to me. None of these are obligations. They are offerings. And offerings only matter when they are freely given. Chosen one, you are not here to consume endlessly. You are here to become. And becoming requires intentional return to truth, to clarity, to reminders that you are not alone in this walk. As you step forward, carry this with you. Obedience has refined you. Patience has steadied you. and awareness has sharpened your vision. You no longer need urgency to move, you move because alignment feels natural. Let your light remain uncovered. Let your choices stay deliberate. Let your presence speak even when your words are few. And when you return, because you will return not out of need, but out of resonance. That is how this path stays beautiful. You may notice that silence feels different now. It no longer presses on you with uncertainty. It rests with intention. Silence becomes a companion instead of a threat, because you have learned how to listen without demanding answers too quickly. What once felt heavy now feels precise. You no longer react to every emotion or follow every impulse. You pause, you weigh, you choose. This is not restraint born of fear, but discipline shaped by understanding and trust. The world may still move loudly around you, but you are no longer pulled by its urgency. You have learned that speed is not power, direction is. And you are no longer scattered, you are aligned. There will be moments ahead when old patterns try to resurface, not because you failed, but because growth is tested. When that happens, you will recognize the difference. You will respond with awareness instead of shame. You are becoming someone who carries clarity quietly, not needing validation, not seeking constant reassurance. Your steadiness will speak before your words ever do. This is how authority matures internally first. And as you continue forward, remember this: nothing here was wasted. Every pause, every warning, every choice refined you. You are not arriving empty-handed. You are arriving prepared, awake, and grounded in truth. You move on with a quieter confidence now. Not because everything is solved, but because you are anchored. What once shook you no longer defines you. You carry discernment forward like a compass, trusting it to guide you through what comes next. As you come to the end of these words, there is no command waiting for you, only space. Space to notice what stayed with you. Space to recognize what stirred quietly rather than loudly. Not every message is meant to be carried forward whole. Sometimes only one sentence, one image, one moment is meant to remain. If something here felt useful, meaningful, or steadying, you may choose to let it travel beyond you. Not as promotion, not as obligation, but like offering water to someone else who may be walking through heat you recognize. Sharing, in that sense, is simply saying, "This helped me breathe." Nothing more is required. And if the message did not fully resonate, that is also honorable. You are not asked to carry what does not fit. Still, there may be a single truth, a quiet reminder, a phrase that brushed against something personal. You are free to keep that for yourself. Not everything is meant to be passed on. Some things are meant to be protected. Growth often ends this way, not with resolution, but with reflection. You are allowed to sit with what you've heard without deciding what comes next immediately. Meaning unfolds over time. Insight settles when pressure lifts. Whether you move on, return later, or quietly absorb what mattered. This ending remains open because your journey is still unfolding. You are not being measured by response, reaction, or visibility. What matters is what you carry forward internally. So take what strengthens you, release what doesn't. Let clarity remain gentle. Let choice remain yours. And wherever you go next, go with steadiness, knowing that even unfinished endings can still be complete in their purpose.